good morning. We're doing a series of seminars trying to help businesses in challenging times. This one is about bricks and mortar, face-to-face, the traditional way of doing business versus e-commerce. I'm going to do the first session on it, which I'm going to talk a little bit about the traditional methodologies of sales and marketing, but I also want to talk to people about the connection between the two, because just because you do one doesn't mean you automatically can't do the other. And there is a strong belief now, and I support that the combination of the old way of doing business and the new way of doing business is actually the best way of doing business. So following on from me, Milind will do his presentation, and after that we'll open up to a question and panel session. So with a little bit of luck, we'll get the meeting started in a few minutes. Milind, would you like to do just a quick introduction of yourself?
Yeah, sure. So as like George mentioned, I am a little bit more about the online part of it in the technology area, how to make use of the technology to get more sales, more leads coming in, and how to make use of it. Once you have got the fundamentals right, what George is going to come talk on, then you can actually make use of the digital strategy to make maximum profit out of your strategy. So I am having a background last 30 years in the IT field, supporting from Fortune 500 to small 1 or 2 people companies, dealing with how to make use of technology. Back to you, George.
Thank you. Just while we just give a couple of minutes for a couple of extra people that are trying to log in. Martin, would you like to just do a quick introduction of yourself?
Bloody mute. Martin Collins, I'm a local solicitor in Norwest. I have a specialisation in wills and estates, but do a lot of commercial work with purchase and sale of business. My experience in the digital world is fairly limited, but I am looking at trading terms through the digital platform, and also a little concerned there about security, online security, and what can go on with payments and attacks to websites.
Thank you. Jason, would you like to just do a quick intro of yourself?
Thanks, George. I'm Jason Chung from Business Growth and Exit Specialists. I'm a digital strategist for the company. I assist businesses with their digital strategy, anything from social media to online websites and online advertising. Yeah, that's pretty much a quick one. Yeah.
Thank you. And Eric, our leader and guide of BGES, would you like to just do a quick intro of yourself?
Yeah, thanks, George. Good to see all of you here. My name is Eric Chung. I'm the CEO of Business Growth and Exit Specialists. We are a boutique management consultancy firm with 7 partners. We work with our client to grow their business, to sustain their business, and exit their business with the desired outcomes. So we are quite happy to share our knowledge through the presenter and the panels with you today. Thank you.
Okay, so without further ado, I shall see if I can be technologically advanced enough to be able to share my screen, and we'll move into the first part of the presentation. Okay, if I just bear with me and I'll move some of this to the side a little. And we're in business. So today's presentation is about bricks and mortar, face-to-face selling, traditional selling, if you like, versus e-commerce. E-commerce is sort of an all-encompassing phrase. You could say it's online marketing, it could be digital marketing, it could be web-based marketing. Basically, it's any of the new sales and marketing stuff that is not necessarily related back to or using the specifics of face-to-face and somebody walking into a retail shop. Quick background on myself. I'm the associate partner for BGES for sales, marketing and intellectual property. I've been doing this for some 30, 40 years now. I have actually sold from the peanut to the elephant. At one time in my life, I was consulting to a family circus, and I was also selling chocolate-coated peanuts and almonds. So I want to talk to you about not only the two areas, but the things that you need to understand about the basics. So before I do that, I want to talk to you about mindset, because what you believe in, you will strive for. Bob Proctor once said, "I may not be able to control the circumstance I find myself in, but I am responsible for my reaction to it." One of my sayings is, "I may never reach the stars, but if I aim for them, I may very well get out of the valley." And what's that got to do with what we're talking about? Well, if you look at Proctor's and you look at mine, it's about looking forward, it's about taking responsibility, and it's about trying to do something other than just be where you are and be influenced from where you are. If you don't see yourself as being able to deal with the new world, then you'll stay in the old world. And you've probably heard that saying, if you're not moving forward, somebody's sneaking up on you. So a lot of this has to do with your mindset. So the information that we give you today, some of it might ring true for you at the moment. Some of it might be confusing. Don't worry about that. Just take it on board and follow up with Melinda and I or one of the other panelists if you need some assistance down the track. So bricks and mortar or e-commerce. If you can count bananas, you can count elephants. What's that got to do with anything? Well, that's a basic. If you understand 1 and 1 makes 2, then you can count bananas and you can count elephants and you can count anything else. If you can apply yourself and you understand it in one area, you'll be able to use it in another. Just like bricks and mortar e-commerce. If you don't understand the basics of selling, you will fail at either of these areas. You could fail in face-to-face, you can fail in retail, and you could fail in e-commerce. Because unless you understand the basics of sales and unless you understand the basics of looking after your customer, you won't know what to do and you won't be able to direct somebody like me or Melin to help you in building your business. It's imperative that you have a good understanding of the cost of getting new customers and the damage of losing potential ones or established ones. So you've spent all this time securing this business and now we're moving to digital and you think you're not going to go there, you start to lose customers. You've got to work extra hard now to replace them. Or you move with the times, you get us involved and you start to develop your business and you, what Eric loves to talk about, pivot. So you've got to have the skills to deliver the service that is valued and appreciated by your customer. That applies bricks and mortar, that applies online. And I keep harping on this point because too often I hear people say, "Oh, I don't need to do that because I'm in e-commerce," or "I don't need to do that because I'm doing digital." You do need to do it because if I'm your customer on digital, if I'm your customer on the internet, I'm that person that was going to be your customer in retail bricks and mortar. And you need to understand that customer care and service is what builds customer loyalty. If you don't look after your customer, somebody else will. So let's talk about looking for clients. For me, looking for clients is a bit like going fishing. Don't go looking for flathead where the salmon are. Now, if you don't know what that means, flathead actually live down the bottom of the sea. They live in the bottom. So if you go out to Sydney Harbour, flathead are down the bottom. Salmon, on the other hand, are in fast-moving streams or out in the ocean. So if you're looking for salmon, you shouldn't be where the flathead are. And if you're looking for flathead, you shouldn't be where the salmon are. When you actually get to your location, you've got to have the right bait. Salmon are at the bottom, bream are at the top of the water. So if you set your bait and your lure and you're putting it just below surface level, you're still not going to catch the fish that you're after. Where this comes into play with bricks and mortar and where it comes into play with online, if you want somebody to set a business up for you and help you with your sales and help you with your marketing, and you don't know who your clients are, what bait are we using? What lure are we using? And where are we actually taking you to find the fish that you want to catch? So some do's and don'ts. Fake it till you make it online is the most dangerous strategy out there. In my opinion, you're dealing with a con man. If I promote myself as a big company in a big organisation, and I'm actually just a one-man band, and then you start to buy from me, and I can't give you the service of a multi-departmental group, and I can't give you the phone numbers and the contacts and all of that, you start to wonder what's going on. So just be who you are, be proud of that, and market to your clients on that basis. I have thousands, literally thousands of people that I can call on to help me with my clients. But I still promote myself as I'm a one-man boutique business, because if you want the coaching, that comes from me. With Malind, he's a larger organisation, but he's still not an IBM or somebody like that. And that's great, because you actually get service from a person that cares about you. So be proud of who you are. Don't try and fake it. Never pray for rain if you haven't built the dam. So don't go putting out the marketing and all of that either way if you haven't actually got your back office sorted out. And that's where Malind can come in to help you in many, many different ways. Don't keep talking. They will stop listening. But the problem is, face-to-face, I can see you starting to get bored and all of that. Online, you don't get any warning. They just go. Whether I'm good or whether I'm bad at face-to-face, I'm only usually going to affect one person at a time. Think about this. E-commerce, if you're good, you can affect people globally. And if you're bad, you can still affect people globally. So e-commerce and internet marketing, you need to be right. Because if you get it wrong, it's not just one or two people that's going to hear about it. It could be the world. Some more do's and don'ts. In face-to-face, make it about the feelings, make it about the experience. My wife runs a bridal salon. Bridal dresses have increased in business since online marketing has come about, because brides want to touch, they want to feel, they want to experience, they want their girlfriends to come in. Try and do that on the internet when you're looking at 16,000 dresses from countries and people you're never going to meet. So think about the experience and think about the feelings when you're doing face-to-face. Make sure you're playing in the right league. So again, if your client base is small, medium, if your client base is mum and dad, don't be putting ads out that are going to attract big corporates. It's not your fish. Don't keep telling people. In face-to-face, the old thing was salesmen and blah, 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 blah. And customers wanted to look for the off switch. Engage with questions and be genuine. How do you do that online? Well, you can have surveys, you can have click here for more information. There's a whole host of things. But if all your site is about blah, 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 where this, again, you're just a click away from them going. For face-to-face, I have to think about travel time to your competitor if I'm getting sick and tired of you. I have to think about getting the car and all that. Online, they're just a click away. So online is far more critical in being able to keep them engaged, because if you lose them, you lose them. They buy you before they'll buy your product. So it's imperative that you understand that. If I don't trust you, I'm not buying the product from you. Make sure you do quality marketing and qualify. Your website is for them, not for you. Some very interesting stuff about why customers leave. 1% die, not much you can do about that. 3% relocate. Relationships beyond your control. Their competitors causes them to go somewhere else. But here's the interesting thing. 14% leave because they're unhappy with the product or service, and 68% leave because they just don't feel appreciated. That can be online, that can be face-to-face. If I don't think you care about my business, why am I going to give it to you? So what does a customer really want? Well, they want to be listened to. They want to be helped. They want you to acknowledge them. They want you to show them that you actually want them back. More importantly, they want to be valued. There's many different ways you can do that, but the important thing is they need to feel that you value them. One of the big problems in life is in business life, is what I call the Mavros theory of gap. See Jim on the left there, he's done all his work. He's having a good old snooze. You can see him snoring. And Bob on the right there, he's done all his work because he only looks after the stuff that comes on his desk. He doesn't look after the other stuff. In the meantime, there goes Mary and Jane between the two of them. So think about what can you do to make sure nobody walks through the gaps. So a little bit of time to reflect. Think of a time when you experienced good customer service. Why was that? What did you do after that? And think of a time where you thought you were being treated badly. And what did you do after that? In communication and engagement, you've got 2 ears, 2 eyes, 1 mouth. Use them as you've got them. When you speak or when you're talking on your website, all you're doing is hearing what you already knew. When you engage them or they speak, they lose exclusivity of what they know. So who are your customers for either strategy? Are they niche or are they broad? That'll cause Melinda and I to work out a strategy for you as to who we're trying to catch. So for face-to-face, prompt attention, trust, knowledgeable staff, empathy. It's all about the total experience. If the experience in your store is no better or even worse than online, why should I get out of my pajamas, let alone get out of my house? Think about it. Why bother going down the street if those people don't look after me? For e-commerce, choose the right platform and support. Keep it easy to navigate and easier for them to pay and get out. Service, get it to them fast and in one piece and let them know how to track it. Make it easy for them to contact you for good customer service. Answer the questions they probably are thinking about and already have. When it boils down to it, when they think of you and talk to their friends, do you want to be the horror story or would you like them to think about you as the absolute jewel in their crown? So what's your new strategies? What can you do? What will you do? When will you do it? What help do you need? Those are the things that you've got to work out to move forward. Because you're either going to move forward or, as I said earlier on, somebody's going to sneak up on you. And I want to leave you with a whole group of people that you should know. And one of my sayings, the hands can only create what the mind can see. If you don't think you can achieve this, then you're halfway to not achieving. And if you think you can achieve it, whatever it is, you're halfway to achieving it. Thank you. So, there endeth the lesson from me. It's a pretty fast-paced session, and it's to give you a whole lot of stuff to think about. If I tried to explain to you any one of those topics today fully, it would take me far more than 15 minutes. What you're going to get now is a presentation from Milind. If he was to explain to you in depth just one part of what he's going to talk about, that would take far more than 15 minutes. So what we're trying to do is to give you some ideas today for you to think about. Do I need to have a cup of coffee with those guys? You can see us together, you can see us on our own, and you can also see the other people within our group of advisors. So without further ado, Milind, I'm going to now try and be technologically advanced and pass over to you.
Okay, thanks, George. That was a good session. Let me just try to see if my technology works. Are you able to see it now?
You're in, go for it.
That's good. So guys, we were talking about face-to-face and going online. And many times we always think about going to the future. And from technology point of view, right now it is a future. And are you part of this future, whatever is there? And why I'm saying that, the reason behind it is last 1 year, you must have seen a lot of customer behavior change. Everyone earlier was sitting at home or going out, doing a lot of shopping, but everything changed as soon as lockdown came in. So customer behavior is still changing. And if you look into Victoria, each time the 1 week, 2 week lockdown becomes now the part of our day-to-day life. So if you want to survive, if you want to grow, one of the things you have to see how customer is behaving during this lockdown period. And I'm going to talk about some more stats which we have got on what happened during this lockdown period. Now everybody should be quite familiar with this code, which is called as a QR code. And do you know that this QR code was introduced more than 20 years earlier in 1994? But we are using this QR code now in 2020. So it is not like technology is not there. Technology is there, but whether do you know how to use it? And what is the best use of technology for your business? That is the main thing which you have to think about. So using this QR code right now, you might be, when you are going into the restaurant, you might be just checking in to find it out if some problem comes up. Then the department or the government should be able to connect you. But there are many other use of this QR code. And if you want to know more, myself or we can talk with the team, we will be able to let you know what are the other way you can make use of this QR code to get more customer to promote your business. One of the biggest thing which you might have seen during last 1 year is people are moving from offline to online. The thing which was not possible in 50 years for chief technology officers to move people to their home, work from home, everything happened within just 1 week of time. What that means, it was not like technology was not there. It is the use of technology changed as soon as the situation changed. And one of the things which you have to think about is when you are making use of digital technology, and if you have a proper strategy in place of just make use of it, let's see how it goes, then it is possible for you to have more sales. You can increase your profit as well. So main thing you have to think about is one way, okay, switch it off and try it out. And second way is think thoroughly, find it out how this digital technology can help your business and you proceed further with it. I was talking about this stats. Australia Post have looked into it. Last year during lockdown, there was 57% year-on-year growth for online shopping. Everything was closed down, So is your business have got any plan for online methodology? I know one of the restaurants which got closed, but what they did, in place of closing down, sitting at home, worrying about how I'm going to survive, they just moved on e-commerce and they started selling their, the best product for them was their spicy tea. And they were able to move on e-commerce and they started selling those tea in the Perth, sitting in NSW in Sydney. And they were so much surprised. They said, without this lockdown, I would not be able to find it out that I can sell my stuff overseas or in a different state. So you have to think about is how you can make use of digital technology. If you are saying in a local area, right now you might be selling the stuff in Sydney, for example, what can be done, how the technology can be used so you can have the different market in a different state or even overseas. And when you are selling anything online, one of the things which is most important is experience. And George have talked about it. George have talked about the mindset. George have talked about the service delivery. All those things are required because using online thing, it is possible that you can get those people coming in. But if their payment gateway is not good, if it is that experience are not completely smooth, they might not want to go. And one of the biggest challenge in e-commerce area is the people go up to the checkout and then they leave. And so how you can convert those people who wanted to buy your product but didn't buy, it is again a different, completely different topic which we can talk about. Security. And you might have heard about it, JBL, the world's largest meat producer, got hacked. And before that, in US, the pipeline which was supplying gas was hacked. They have to pay $4.4 million to the hacker to get their data back. You must be thinking, okay, these are the bigger company, what we are going to do for SME sector? Because it is quite easier for SME sector for these hackers to log in to your computer. So make sure that you are making use of best security, whatever is available to you. And if you don't know about it, give us a call and we will be able to help you out. The small thing, like many times people just save their password in a browser, not secure at all. So we can have a password manager, very simple to implement, but that can help you out to at least cut down some part of it, which other people cannot do it. And other thing which we are talking about is your product should be available to your customer at the right time, at right place. And the technology is there. Whatever you are seeing, it is possible that next time when the customer log into your e-commerce thing, you can show them the product, what they were more interested in. And other thing which we are talking about is a strategy. Because without a strategy, a lot of data just sitting down in your system and you will not be able to make use of it. And so when we are talking about digital transformation, when we are talking about how I can make use of IT, how I can make use of technology to help your business to grow a little bit more, then that time there are 4 different areas where the digital transformation are used a lot. And once you mix and match this part of it, using the technology and data, using the technology and process and organizational change, all this help you, your company to grow and create more profit. One of the things many times I have seen that company do not understand the organizational change. Technology you can just buy, you can put it, but if the organization is not changing with it, if you do not have a people, the expert people inside it, or whether you have hired them from outside, you have to think about how, when I am moving from paper-based business to technology-based business, or if I'm moving from brick and mortar to online e-commerce, what are the things need to be changed inside the company? What training is required for the people inside the company? What are the things which we need to do to go for digital transformation? So all these 3 or 4 areas you have to work on to get the maximum out of your digital transformation area. So when we are talking about the strategy, one of the biggest thing which is available is like a lot of big data is not available. Whether you go to Woolworths or whether you are going to Coles or you are going to Westfield, everybody have got their own program. And this program, what it does, it just try to look into what information you are doing, what you are buying, what is your requirement. And all these things can be processed and that are useful for those companies. But the magic comes up when the third-party data is included. You know, like whenever you log in, many times you just say, I agree. And where like Martin helped to put all those the terms conditions, and those one of the term condition is I'm sharing my data with third parties. And that sharing data with third party is the magic. If I get the data from the, say, for example, if I'm sharing data between Westfield as well as from Coles, I can find it out at what time you came in. And out of that, when you came in, how much time you have spent in the Coles. So this type of information can be very, very useful for the organization. But one good point which you have to remember is that artificial intelligence is there now. This year, this is like a working, a lot of people are making use of artificial intelligence. And once artificial intelligence, it get trained, it can give you a lot of information which can help you to make decisions. So don't think that artificial intelligence is something which bigger company only can use. This is available for you as of now, and you can make use of it to increase the profit inside your business and to grow your business as well. And if your digital technology is used properly, there is an increase in productivity, there is an increase in revenue, there is increase in saving, and the employees also are more happier to go with it. So let me just go back. One of the things where the people, when you are going on digital journey, the maximum bang for the bucks people get is at the time of the CRM. The CRM is customer relationship management. And this is part which George also touched about. It is possible that you can reach out to a lot of people. You can cast your net to get a lot of people. But if you are not able to service, your service delivery is not good, this thing is not going to be good for you. Because if the people buy something from you and you are not able to deliver, the reputation management is one of the biggest challenge online. If the people are happy, they are talking about it, yes, how good you are. But if they're not happy, they are also talking about how not good you are. So reputation management becomes one of the biggest challenge. And you have to also think about if you are going to make use of digital technology as one of the tools of the trade for you, you have to make sure you have some program for your reputation management as well. And these all things we cover during the digital, our awareness part of it when we talk to you. And so the first part, the top part of it, it is how you are reaching out. So this is the marketing part. And once you got those people interested in, that time actually you start your sales process. And just remember that it is not when we are talking about digital, everything need to be done online. It may be like, yes, the people have shown interest, you just make a phone call. And that is the thing which is still required. It is not only the people just send an email and everybody is your customer. So you have to think about how you can add up whatever you are doing as of now offline and how I can add online to it to convert more customers. And when we are talking about online, always you will see the social media things coming into the picture. So social media, it's really, really good. But many times when you're talking to the people, they talk about, yeah, I know I'm getting a lot of like on my social media post, but when you ask them how many of them got converted into a customer, that time they do not have an answer. And during this area, basically the CRM is really, really useful. Using CRM, you are able to convert the social chatter into actionable leads. Anyone like your post, anyone is tweeting about it, that information can be captured, pushed into the CRM, and someone inside your company can make a phone call, try to convert those people because they already know about you. You might talk a little bit more about them, how you can convert them into the customer. Other thing where CRM is also helpful is sales signals. And George have talked about it as well, like connecting with the people. It is not only when you are sending, I'm really best, but when you are actually sending an email, these people are opening up your email? Are they filling out the survey? Are they looking into your Facebook or Twitter things? And all these signals are sales signals. And still it is used if suppose you are going and meeting with your client offline, those are also sales signal because the meeting is also one of the process, one of the next step to close the deal. So all these things, as per the sales signals, you can decide whether this is a good deal for which you are going or you are just wasting your time on this, following up with this person. And other part comes out there is lead scoring. So on the lead scoring, for example, if your customer is based in NSW, you give some extra points to them. And if the customer is in particular manufacturing industry, you give extra point to them. So lead scoring concept was there offline, but it is now available online as well. So as George mentioned earlier, your fundamental need to be right, because in the technology, the garbage in, garbage out. If you do not have your fundamental rights, whatever information coming in might not be correct. You might not be able to make decisions on top of it. One of the things which comes out using the technology is the forecast. Once you started putting data in, and because of artificial intelligence, nowadays it is there, you are also able to forecast what type of sales you might look afterwards, what type of information might come in, and how you can make use of that information in. So all these things are really, really useful as soon as you think about how I can make use of online. So it is not when going online that I don't want to look into offline. Offline is really, really required. It is the mix and match approach which you have to look into it. So main thing what we are talking about is whenever you want to build a house, there are two options you have got. One is if you have never built a house, you might want to spend too much time looking into where is the plumber, where is that sparky, where is I can get all those things. And then you have to go to the other part to find it out. It's very difficult for you to do it. But in place of that, you can go to a builder who have got access to all those things, and you just, they will solve, they will create a house for you. The same concept comes up when you are dealing with us. There are so much information which is available. If you think, oh my God, how I'm going to do it? We do it day in, day out. So what we do is we connect all the different systems with each other. And so that gives you 360-degree view of your customer. So you are able to find it out, what data, what is the information which is customer looking for? What is the project, what projects we have worked on this customer earlier, or what are the things this customer have bought earlier. So key strategy, the key points which you might want to take out of this, my 15 minutes information is make use of QR code for your business. If you don't know how, give me a call or give any of the panelists a call to find it out how these things, how we can put a business strategy together and how that is useful for your business. Second thing is start making use of artificial intelligence, because if you are not doing it, your competitor might be doing it, because this is now very affordable, available for SME sector to make use of it. And third thing is get 360-degree view of your customer and break the information silo. Many times inside the company, you have got so much information sitting, but it is not connected with each other. And there actually, we can also come into the picture. We can help you how to get this data from one place to other place and connect it so it can give you some actionable insight on which your company can work on. And that's it from me. I will pass it on to George.
Thanks, Milind. So thank you very much for that. But just something that struck me looking at your presentation, Milind, and I'll bring this to the forefront for everybody. I'm 65 and I started doing face-to-face selling from the age of 11. Yep, the age of 11. One of the biggest things that AI brings to the table, one of the biggest things that technology now brings to the table, is the massive amount of data that you can use and process when you're forecasting and doing analysis. I go back to when I was a rep many years ago, and I had a stock card on every single client. Some of my clients had 2,000 products. And then we moved to a computer system. And then we moved from the computer system to the tablet. And because we were using barcodes, not QR codes, but barcodes in those days, we were able to manage by exception. So there was a role for me as the salesperson to come in and talk to you. And there was a role for the technology to help. By me spending less time analysing, less time doing all the forecasts, funny enough, my boss has got a lot more productivity out of me because I spent more time actually doing what they paid me the big bucks for, selling. So what I want to do now is I want to pass over to Eric. I believe we've had some questions put through earlier on. And Eric, I'm going to leave this section now up to you to steer. Over to you.
All right, thank you. That was a really interesting and good presentation, George and Milin. Thanks for that. I actually have some key takeout from the presentation. It's quite interesting that, as you said, we're actually living in the crossroad of moving into online or totally move to online or having hybrid sort of business model. But one thing that I picked up from the presentation is the mindset is very critical. As George said, it's all depend how do you respond to all these dynamic changes, all the adversity that we are facing during COVID-19, and be able to, I guess, be resilient and have the energy to keep going, being agile. And as George said, my keyword, most of it, I love the word pivot. Unless you pivot and adapt and remain relevant, your business will suffer greatly. And the other things that I think is quite important, which I am in total agreement. All this is great. Obviously, as Milin said, with the COVID-19 accelerated the customer behavior, the trend toward e-commerce and social media type of marketing and transaction. However, as you mentioned as well, George, we need to get the fundamental right and understand it and get it right. So what I'm saying is that at the end, every one of us as a business owner, we're actually in the business of moving either our service or our products from us to our clients and customers. So to do that, regardless of the different customer behavior and changing processes, you need to get your marketing right. You need to get your sales right. You've got to make sure that your fulfillment is up to scratch. And of course, the dollar and cent, the financial control in order. And the customer service is pretty good as well, because obviously the expectation has changed. So that's quite interesting. A couple of other things that's quite interesting from the presentation is that, I guess, word that you have been using, experience-based commerce, right? I think this is so critical for all of us to understand that, the environment is changing. All we need to do is make sure we understand, right, how can we relate to the new environment and give them the best experience they can have when they deal with us from the beginning to the end. Like Milin said, even you implement technology, you're only as good as your weakest link. So it's no point to be the best in marketing, but your fulfillment is behind. As George said, you are not ready. Or you are really good at marketing sales, but you don't know how to do the financial control. So your cash flow is going to strangle you when you grow. So all of these are quite pertinent. So without further ado, I just want to introduce our panelists again. We have Jason. Jason is the digital strategies for business growth and exit specialist. And we have Martin. Martin is a principal solicitor from Collins Legal. And we have Ronell. Ronell Wilson is a partner at CIP Accountants and Advisors. So I think we have the benefit of the two presenters and the panel to answer some of the questions that we have received so far. If you got further questions, you can actually put them through Q&A. Okay, so we actually got some very interesting questions. One of them say, I'm not able to generate leads. How can digital marketing help me? Which digital channel I should use first? Maybe Jason, you can answer that.
Thanks, Eric. Look, it is a good question that a lot of businesses face when they're looking to market online. And what I usually tell my clients is we look at what digital channels work for other businesses that they compete with, what digital channels they're actually currently on, and what they feel comfortable to use. So for a pure and simple web shop, someone selling products, you need to be where your customers are. So if you're selling coffee and people are looking for coffee on Google, you are likely to want to advertise on Google. Another way that someone that would be selling a physical product could market to their customers, which I'm sure you would have all seen, is through social media marketing and influencers. So for a retail type business that's selling products, it could be very different from a service-based business that is selling for B2B. So if you are an accountant and all of your customers are sitting on LinkedIn, it's likely that you'd want to advertise on LinkedIn or even potentially on social media, other social media platforms if you've got engaging content that will speak to your audience. So as George and Milind said in their presentations, you need to look at your customers, look at their behaviors, look at how they interact with your business, and really be real with the way you communicate with them. There's no point in advertising on LinkedIn if you are selling a product that is your audience is not on LinkedIn, and there's no point in selling on Google if your audience is not there. So that's probably a short rundown of what I would look at when looking at where to market.
Very good, Jason. Thanks for that. Any of you would like to add further comment with the question? George.
Yeah, look, any sort of sales and marketing, if you don't start by thinking about who your customer is and where they're likely to be, it comes back to fishing for salmon where the flathead are. You could be in the totally wrong spot. So you've got to understand who your market is, not necessarily just the market. You have to understand what part of the market you're looking to do. So for myself, I'm not really chasing big corporate clients. So I don't go to events just because big corporate clients are there. But I will go to an event with 5 or 10 small local businesses because that's my fishing area.
Good point. Milind, do you want to add any comment there?
Yeah, one of the thing, what Jason mentioned, that's correct. Like you have to find out where your customer base is. But main thing what I'm going to again talk about is artificial intelligence software is now here. So whatever data you are getting, once you know where it is, using artificial intelligence, it becomes easier for you to promote those things. You can automate a lot of things as well. So once you know where it is, and Jason is expert into that area, in the marketing area, that where to put it, make use of the technology. And that will save you a lot of time to reach out to your potential customer and to be in front of them. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, we have received some more questions here. This one here most probably quite an interesting one. It says sales and marketing teams love to spend money, while the finance department or accounting department does everything in their power to manage the cost and cut back the spending. How can we keep the sales and accounting department happy in this area? I think Ronel, most probably it will be a good question for you to share your comment. Please unmute yourself.
Accountants always get the bad rap, don't they? Yeah, look, there's a lot of good content today. Well done, guys. That was great. I think it's really critical that the sales and marketing part of the business is part of the whole financial strategy. And so, you know, it's critical that it's part of the business to keep the business relevant, competitive, and on the growth path. So I think it's, you know, you keep the accountants happy by having a targeted approach, a budget, and have a focused plan on how you spend your marketing dollars and how you invest in your sales team, that sort of thing. So it's really just having a more targeted approach, have it as part of the whole business plan, and and just staying within your budget and making it as focused and bang for buck as you can.
Very good. I shall add that I think if you can think it through strategically in terms of, you know, what marketing you want to do and what sort of result you're going to achieve, and you work out, you know, the budget that is, I guess, allowable in that sort of situation, that will avoid a lot of, you know, I guess, discussion and debating when people want to spend money. So normally, you know, myself as a strategist, we come up with growth sort of strategic plan. We work out all the technical area. We work out, you know, what sort of target area that we want to target and make sure that they will be profitable. And based on that, what sort of marketing will be appropriate and what sort of budget should we allocate to give a reasonable benefit to the business. So I think, you know, that is also another approach. If you do a top-down approach to make it work, that would be, you know, one way to go about it. So any one of you would like to join this discussion?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, Millen, you go first.
I will actually make use of what Ronel is saying is don't go for flathead as well as Salomon at the same time. Just go for flathead or go for Salomon.
Yes, yes, absolutely. George?
Yeah, look, it's very interesting. If you look back through the financial crisis, if you look through a number of depressions and things like that, companies that actually continued on, not to the same level maybe, but companies that continued on with their sales and marketing and advertising actually did better than those companies that pulled back. Now, obviously, you've got to be worried about the money. And I've been a salesman, I've been a managing director, I've been involved in counting the money at the end of the day. And if anybody comes to me and says, well, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and this, and this, and we're going to earn $2 million, the first thing I say to them is, how much is it going to cost us? Now, the best way I've ever got an accountant on side is to say, Ronel, I need $150,000 and it will take me this long to return it to you. And after that, I'm going to give you $300,000. Now, as an accountant, she has the ability to then look at that. You've got to be able to support your figures and say yes or no. I had a situation a few weeks ago where somebody contacted me through a referral and the person wanted to put on a sales rep. I said, that salesperson's going to cost you $120,000 a year. Based on the product you're selling, you won't make $100,000 in sales. So it's just not, it's not feasible. And the lifetime value of the client wasn't there either. So just do the numbers.
Absolutely.
The other point also is know when to consult the professionals. So if you're going to have a spend, know when to consult the professionals. A lot of people try and do it in-house. It's all sort of DIY. And sometimes you just need the professionals to look at your marketing, your technology and your website, that sort of thing. And the spend is well worth it.
Yep.
Good point. Good point. Yeah. Another question here is, with online business, is there any legal risks that business owners should consider? Well, that's an interesting one. Maybe Martin, you want to tackle this question. Martin
in the shade there.
Yeah, coming out of the shadows? No, not quite.
That's better.
Well, I guess the first thing you have to consider is the promotion you're putting around your product or service, and making sure that that doesn't overreach or be misleading. The quality of the service, the quality of the product has to be there at the end of the day. And I think that's been covered by both George and Melinda, that yes, you don't want any consumer issues or dealings with fair trading. Anything that is long-term service, then you do have to look at your terms of trade and perhaps refer to a specific page for clients so that they understand what they're committing to. It's one thing if they're buying bananas or earplugs or earphones or something, and it's just a cheap once-off deal. But for longer term B2B relationships, then you're going to need terms of trade, both in writing and available online. People often see those things, myself included, and tick the box and move on. But there are, for the consumer, there are traps in there. For the trader, you've got to have those terms set out clearly so that everyone's knows where they stand, knows what their warranties are, or what their obligations are if something goes wrong, and there's a process there in place to deal with the customer on a commercial and legal basis. Security, of course, you don't want your website hacked, and you want to keep an eye on that, and keep an eye on what's being said or promoted on your website. Those things can be taken over. Security of payments. You don't want someone accessing your files and hacking in. So there's a lot of back end commitment that you need there, which people like Jason and Malone can advise on. So yeah, there's some of the things that come to mind.
Yes, it's quite interesting, isn't it? There are quite a bit of things that you need to think about to manage the business risk, which most probably some of us are not aware. Any of you would like to jump in as well?
Well, you might be surprised, Eric, but I will.
Good on you.
A name that pops into my head, Pete Smith. Oh, yes. A guru of cooking who suddenly came out on the internet and started promoting all things about his new whiz-bang machine, making the most outlandish statements, Martin. And funny enough, ACCC hit him with, I think, an $80,000 fine, and they hit him with some other work. You've got to be particularly careful about what you're saying, whether it's in face-to-face or on the internet. The problem is, a lot of people that say the most ridiculous things offline don't understand. Only one or two people hear you at a time. But when you put it up on your website, anybody can see it, anybody can complain. So even if it's a genuine error, it is critically important to be talking to Malin and to Jason and to Martin to make sure that you get that wording correct, because you might be able to infer something, but you may not be able to state that same thing. Vitamins and medicines are a classic. There's certain things that you can say could help you with in vitamins, but unless you've got the research to back it, you must never say this will cure that.
Very good. All right, I'll move on to the next question then. It says, in your opinion, how we should prepare our sales team if we are planning to exit or sell a business in the next 3 years? I don't mind to tackle this one because I think right in our alley talking about business succession and business exit. That is a quite interesting question. In this particular question, actually talking about the sales team. But I think in terms of business exit, the business value actually lies in several areas. One of the things that we must do is we got to make sure that the business focus on marketing and selling product and services that they have competitive advantage. And there are reasons why people will choose that business rather than other. For example, they could be cheaper, they could be faster, they could be better, right? In any shape or form. So once you have that, obviously, the people you have is important. We are talking about sales team now. if you're going to have a good sales team and they are willing to stay for the new owner, that certainly will add value. But I guess people are coming and going. Each one of them have their own interest. That's why systemization, leveraging on technology is very important. Millen actually mentioned CRM. I think if you really want to have a really, good value when you exit, you need to systemize your business in all areas, especially marketing, sales, automation through a CRM system is very important. Because at the end, you need rainmakers, and the rainmakers need to have a good tools to make rain for your business, so you can cover your costs and end up with some profit. So that is quite interesting question. I'm pretty sure, some of the challenges out there is that they are not quite targeted, and the people and the system is not quite there. So when the business being sold, they say, all right, okay, can I have a look at your client base? Well, yes, it's in this PC and that PC plus that PC, plus also here, I know all of them, they're my private client. I got 250 years relationship with them. And then the buyer said, well, hang on a second, most of that will not be good for me. So that is an interesting question. Any one of you want to join the discussion there?
I'll let the others have a go first, but then if no one else, I'll jump in on that one.
Millen, you're smiling.
Yeah, Eric, I got a related question actually. So at what time the company should think about exit? Means, is there something like, I know you are expert into that area, is that should be like a minimum turnover for a smaller, because we might have like a lot of SME business here. Is SME business, what turnover is good before they can come and talk to you about, hey, I'm thinking about exit?
Yes, I think the reality though that, especially during COVID-19, a lot of them actually, want to exit for various reasons. In the ideal situation, we understand if your business value is around 1 million plus, it's easier to exit your business. But the reality in Australia is a lot of them are SME, a lot of them actually have the business value much lower than that. So there are a few things that we basically think outside the square, try to make it happen. Also talking about strategic acquisition. In other words, the business could be small, the profit could be small, but another company say, wow, hang on a second, I'm quite happy to actually absorb them because it's a strategic acquisition, because we're actually selling like a synergetic products, or they are niching different area that we are interested in, or for example, that there is a potential for them into going to different geographic area because they already got the clients there. So I think from that perspective, Millen, is quite interesting. Some of them say, I'm too damn tired. I've been around and doing the business 30 years. You tell me I've experienced GFC, flood, fire, now COVID-19, government regulation. They're my best friend. Today I can open. Tomorrow they say you better shut down your business. And then the next day, can you please open again? They say I can't hack this anymore. I just want to pass it on to somebody that can really build upon what I have. So there are a lot of different things. And sometimes obviously they are forced to close down because basically the cash flow after the shopkeepers and jobkeepers thing is pretty good to them. It's all finished. Now basically their bank account is empty. They have to pay all the expenses. It'll take them a while to get there. And all to the governments, they go out there and go to the bank and get some money. It's easier said than done. Basically, money is quite scarce if your business is not doing well. No financial institution want to know you because of the business risk, obviously, that you cannot pay back. So it's an interesting area that we are doing now. And what we are saying, if you're thinking about exit or succession, have a chat with us. Happy to explore all the different ways that most probably, a lot of people haven't thought about. We do a lot of management buyout as well, and also employee share scheme that will help and make it work for them.
Yeah, there's a few points in this area. I talked about in my presentation about knowing your clients and knowing where to fish. When you're starting to think about getting out of the business, you're actually fishing for a buyer of your business. So you start to talk to somebody like Eric and you start to position your business so it becomes more attractive. Consider yourself a little fish and you want to be attractive to a big fish. Only to keep the analogy going of the examples I've given. Ronell will be able to tell us hundreds, if not thousands, of horror stories that people that have their own businesses that either run at a loss or certainly don't make a profit, and the owners have kept that money and they've got the black money and they've hidden it over here and they do this and they do that. Then when they go to sell the business, somebody comes along and says, well, what am I buying? There's nothing. It's oh no, it's all under the table, it's over here. So generally speaking, if you're looking to sell your business, you should be thinking about that 2 or 3 years out. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't do it under that time. But if you give yourself a couple of years, your accountant can help you structure the business for it to be the most profitable. Somebody like Malind can help you bring in your systems and bring in the artificial intelligence to possibly reduce your overheads of labour and increase your returns. And then somebody like me says, well, hang on, you've got this group of customers, which are great for you because you like dealing with those sorts of people. But if you want to attract the right sort of fish to gobble you up, why don't you just shift across to this space? The other thing to remember is that for some weird reason, proprietary limited companies, so most small businesses are proprietary limited or owner operated, we generally are lucky if we can do better than about 2 times our net profit for goodwill. But a listed company generally runs at 7 to 15 multiple of the net profit. So your business makes $100,000 net profit. Somebody like Eric and I want to come along and buy it, and we're a private company. We might be looking at giving you a couple of $100,000 goodwill at best. 300,000 if you think if we really could see the point of it. But a publicly listed company that can see you will help them fill a gap, they may pay you 5 or 6 or 7 times your return, because as soon as they put it on their book, they know that their multiple to their shareholders is 12 or 15. So again, who are you fishing for?
That's a good point, George, because we are talking about strategic buyers. So talking about strategic sale. One thing interesting is that when business owner come to see us to say they want to exit, we normally try to find out first how much time have they got. If it's short, we got to think out something that will work for them virtually in the next 6 months. If they have time, as you said, George, what I'm going to do is that we work with them for 3 years. On average, we can triple their business value, right, over 3 years. The way we do it very simple. Normally, business owner come to us and say, my business I think with a lot of money, which is great, but I don't know how much. So we say, all right, let's do a business valuation very quickly using a methodology that's accepted by accounting bodies and bankers. So we got a starting point. Most of the time they feel deflated. They say, gosh, really only that much? I said, it's not a problem. It's all depend, how much you want and what is the realistic time frame. So normally what we do is that we come up with the strategy to strengthen all the area of business to increase the business value. So we work, with you, George, marketing and sales, CRM, and obviously put in the proper structure, financial control, system and procedure, make sure we manage our risk working with column into more business side, etc. Then what we actually do is that we move along and trying to find a strategic buyer. In other words, rather than selling to whoever out there, we start thinking who would be the organization or people, including overseas buyer, they would be interested in the business and give you more money, right? Because the business worth more than them for their own purposes, which is quite, an interesting strategic intent. Overseas people, they want to come here, they want to invest, and they want to get PR and become Australian citizen. Larger businesses, they might say, well, this is good. We can just swallow it up straight away. They make money because the multiply, as you said, George. I think SME around 2.5. Those listed company is around 13 straight away. If they swallow it, whatever they pay, maybe 5 times, suddenly become 13 times. Hallelujah, they said this is good business, right? And, a lot of things that we do, we actually have quite a lot of clients that happy to either merge or acquire businesses because they want to expand the geographic area or go into synergetic services. And on average, based on our experience, they're actually willing to pay 4 times, which you cannot get because of just selling it outside. So I think connection does matter in this case. That's what, most probably one of our strengths. We have the connection that will be able to give business owner higher value. And at the same time, during the journey, we actually engage, all the right people to build the business value.
So I've got a couple of questions. One is to Ronelle. From an accounting perspective, I'm looking at buying a business and I come to you and say, oh, look, I'm looking at buying Jimmy Blogg's business. What would be the top 3 or 4 things that an accountant would tend to look at? And then one for Melinda. I meant to ask you this earlier on, mate. If I come to you and I say, look, I've got a bit of this, I've got some Excel, I've got a CRM over here, I've got Outlook over there. Do I need to then throw all of that out and pay for a complete revamp, or are you able to build in and around what a client's got? And just a bit of an idea. So Ronelle, over to you first.
Oh, there's many things, but the thing that most comes to mind would be the corporate governance, the maturity of the systems that the company would have, the maturity of the customer profile and supplier relationships, contracts in place, having good accounting and other systems within the business so that a new owner could just walk in and pick it up and take it, and also making sure that there are no skeletons in the cupboard in terms of liabilities, warranties, that sort of thing. So just cleaning it up and making sure that it's really clean so a business owner can walk in and either buy the shares or buy the business itself, and have the systems, the people, and everything in place. I mean, that would be the ideal sale, and that would maximise the value.
Fair enough. Thank you. And Melinda, my question to you about do we have to throw out the baby, the bathwater, and the crib, or can we keep something?
No. We want you to keep your baby. We don't want them outside in cold, Matt. Yeah. So normally what we do is we try to find it out what systems you are using and how you can integrate those systems with the new systems which is getting in place. Because that time, one of the biggest challenge comes out, as I mentioned in there, is a change management. People don't want to change. So what we are trying to do, normally what we do is we connect the system, whatever is available, whatever is useful for them. The data in Excel, we just pull up those data as well into the system, and we show them the benefit. Okay, if you are putting all the data in place of 10 different places, if you put it at one place, everybody can give a look into it. So yeah, wherever possible, we integrate those systems together to get the data together.
Fair enough. And now I've got a duet on the other side of my panel here. Jason, for those that don't understand, if I've got Melinda and he's doing my CRM and he's doing my AI and he's doing my analysis and he's doing this, what the devil do I need you for in this other stuff, this social networking and all? Isn't that the sort of stuff that Melinda does anyway? Which is a question that people quite often come up to me about. And Martin, for you, where do you fit in with the Melindas and the Jasons and I, if somebody's coming to us to want to move their business from current bricks and mortar and combine in a much bigger presence on that online e-commerce? So from where do we operate as that melded team to help people. Jace, you first. Only because you're younger than the rest of us.
That's a good question, George, and I often get asked similar questions. So as a digital strategist and digital native, I've worked with a lot of different businesses looking at how they deal with the digital space. So coming from a sales and marketing background, I've been on the ground selling, building those customer relationships, and then working with a wide range and variety of businesses. I've been able to look at things like CRM, social media, websites, and see how they all interconnect. So you really do need a great CRM. Every business, I think, needs to be able to manage their current customers, their future customers, and be able to know what they're doing and learn how to manage how they communicate with them. So a good digital strategy does not consist of really great social media marketing or really great Google ads or a really great website or one piece in particular that is doing well. To be really good at what you do online, you need to have a snapshot of what you do as a business, look at all of the digital aspects of your business, be it online advertising, CRM, your website, and your social media, and then know how to link that all together to achieve what you're trying to achieve as a business. So often what Manel said earlier is completely true. Businesses and small businesses will want to do things in-house and really want to do everything they can to save a bit of money and achieve maximum results, which is great in some ways, saving a bit of money. But if you're spending $10,000 and not getting great results, you can get a digital strategist in that knows how all of these different pieces work. And with AI in your CRM, with the analytics in all of your digital advertising platforms and your analytics on social media and your website, you can look at that data and measure your results. So I think accountants want to see that, business owners want to see that. They want to say, look, Jason, I've got $10,000 to spend. What do I do? And if you go to an advertiser or online advertiser, they'll say, look, I can spend that money really quickly. No problems. $10,000. That's great. Our service is $1,000. You know, I'll put that in there, and at the end, you'll get some, you know, some leads, some hits, but they don't look at the overall strategy of what you're doing and all the different aspects. So what I tend to do is look at it from your strategic side and what you're trying to achieve, where your business makes the money. And then if you put the money in, what money are you going to get back? What are the results you're going to get back? And how are you going to make sure that everything sings together? Because often you might have a really good SEO guy or a really good advertiser, or you might have a really good, you know, website. But if you don't look at the other aspects, you're just not going to get the results that your big companies are getting, because they often have someone in their business that looks at all of those aspects, or they have someone that, you know, they have a weekly meeting and they say, look, this is our online digital strategy meeting. We are looking at your things, Melinda. We're going to look at the digital advertisers' results. And then they bring it all together and they are able to track and manage that. In a small business, you often don't have that happening. So a digital strategist like me can step in and say, look, I'm looking at what you've got on your CRM. I understand that's good. I'm looking at your ads and your ad spend. That looks reasonably good. Okay, the sales guys, they are saying we need these leads. If we want to make an extra $1 million this year, we want these leads. The ads guy is getting us these leads. The CRM is telling me it's making us this money, but let's bring it all together and let's focus our ad spend on X, which will provide us the results. So that's probably a little bit about what I do. Every business is different. I think every business has a different approach to digital marketing and managing their digital presence. But I think there is definitely room for someone to come in at that level and look at an overall picture and try and hone in your budget and what you're doing to get the best results possible.
Right. And Martin, as our resident legal, where do you fit into this picture? Should we have you there at the beginning? Should we have you there only at the end? Should we have you there once we've done certain things? How do you see where the legal advisor fits in? We understand Ronelle and Eric from the accounting and the strategy of the overall business and all of that. Where should somebody be thinking about engaging their legal advisor?
Well, I think once the business owner has decided on the strategy that they want to follow, they have to think about bringing their team along. So often I've seen in business, in the legal business, probably in any professional business, a salesman will sell software or computers or a new photocopier as the great whiz-bang thing, and they'll sell that to the partner or the owner who'll jump on board, and then just turn around and dump it on the employee's desk and say, you know, this is the next big thing here, you work it out, and I'll see you later. And what do? Well, they just go back to what they know. So if it's bricks and mortar as against online, they'll just keep doing what they're comfortable with. So there's a conversation to be had there with your staff. Perhaps some staff are going to be retrenched, so there may be a whole restructure of the business around what this strategy is going to be and how it's going to go forward. Yeah, you need to look at, for those that are being retrenched, what are their entitlements, how to deal with them so that you know, they don't just kick over the can and cause more trouble, or cause trouble because they're upset with the outcome. You have to negotiate that and understand how to deal with them. And then the team that's staying on board, or the new team that you're bringing in, have to be trained up to do the business the way that your strategy is now setting out for them. And that's the same with the clients. The client who is used to coming and seeing you face to face, or touching the wedding dress with her girlfriends, now needs to adapt to this new way and see that as the way forward. And there's going to be some things missed often in terms of, you know, I was turning in terms of trade and things like that I was talking about before. Conditions that are printed on the back of invoices that you might have once handed to your client, the contract you got them to sign in real life in front of you. How's all that going to be? How's that going to come into effect? How do you know what your commercial relationship is with the client that binds you to one another and sets out the terms of that agreement? There is going to be a change in implementing that structure, and you know, I guess there are always going to be things missed, or you know, little bumps along the way. But legally, you want to make those bumps as small as possible, and not put the whole thing off the track. Yeah.
Thanks for that. And Ronelle,
sorry, George. Just mindful with the time. I think 5 to 11. We got a couple of questions from the audience there.
Oh,
I think we only enough for one question. This is curly one. I think we got a short period of time, 5 minutes to respond to it. It says, I'm getting many leads, but not able to convert them to customers. What are the possible problems? So I open it to you guys, and I guess you can respond to that. We got 5 minutes before we need to close the webinar. Anybody would like to answer this first?
Jason?
Look, I think if you've got a lot of leads and you're not converting, you need to look at your analytics like I was talking about before. I think with a lot of traffic and the right CRM, you'll be able to see what type of customers are converting, how they've come through into your pipeline, and really hone into what type of customer you want to target moving forward. you're getting a lot of leads and you don't have the right sales processes or marketing processes, you need to speak to someone like George that can help train your team out to be able to nurture those clients and get the sales. You know, if you've got a bucket full of leads and you're not getting any sales, I'd really be looking at what the sales guys are doing with those leads. You know, if it's raining and you're not able to really make it rain in the business, there's obviously something going wrong. What people tend to think is, I'll throw a lot of money into digital marketing and my business will explode. Well, it just doesn't work like that. You need to have the right people on board. You need to have the right tools, and CRMs are really integral in that mix, because once you've got a lead, if it's just going into a bucket sitting on your desk of little leads that you don't really know what's happening with them, you're not nurturing them, your sales guy says, oh, thanks for the leads, Jason. I'll just put it on my little table here and leave it there for 3 months. 3 months, oh, I need that. I need to call that guy. You're just not going to be converting those leads. It's going to be burning money. So you need to work with the right advisors, the right team members to get the right results. Ultimately, if you're just shooting out everywhere and you're not really capturing any of those customers, I'd really be looking at your digital strategy.
Very good. So Milin, just quick one before George will conclude the webinar. You want to have any comment, considering that you're very, very good with CRM?
Yeah, so one of the things where CRM actually helps is to find out this problem, because many times people do not understand at what time they are losing the customer. Because using the CRM systems can actually tell you at what time in that particular area you have lost the customer. And then the people like George is really, really good to tell you why they are losing and how they can fix it. So if, like many times I have seen in my, like I was talking to one of the manufacturing companies, and as soon as we started talking about the CRM system implementation, they came to know, hey, they do not have any plans of marketing, how they are getting a leads. It was like, as George said, it is in my mind. So there are 3 people and they were just going and out, no idea from where the leads coming in. So, but in this case, if the leads are coming in, the best option is to look into where actually they are losing those leads, and whether, because like a phone call, if you do not make a phone call within next 15 minutes, 50% of leads just drop off. So if you are not ready, your competitor is ready to do that. That's from my point of view.
Excellent. George, over to you. Close the webinar.
If you've got an idea, a concept, a thought, a product or a service, and you can't sell, you can't communicate and negotiate effectively. And if you don't do it strategically, you're probably trying to sell the wrong thing to the wrong person at the wrong time in the wrong place for the wrong amount of money. So that's why you need experts and you need people that understand all of this stuff, like the panel that's available today, to help you out. Over to you, Eric.
Yes, thank you to George and Milin for the excellent presentation, and our panel, Jason, Ronell, and Martin. And thank you all for attending this. We hope that you have some key takeout that you can go away and think about it or implement them. If you have any queries about any of the methods that we have discussed, you always can contact us at info@BGES.co or go to our website. We are quite happy to direct you to the right member who would be very happy to have a discussion with you. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.